Hi again, everybody. So hopefully all of your guys' value scales went really well. Today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys how to do observational drawing. So the first thing you guys need to do in this, make sure you're following that Google Doc that's on Schoology. And on there, the first thing that it asks you to do is find an object that is small and light colored. It does not have to be super small, but it has to be light colored so that you can see the shadows really well. This right here is my object. I'm gonna use this cup. I can see shadows over here. It has these dark spots that are like gold on here, but it also has these highlights here, and that's caused by light. So as long as you have a good light source and an object that's light enough to where you can see those shadows, you should be good. Then what you're going to be doing is you're separating your paper into quadrants. I have mine separated out already, and I've already kind of started in this first one. So today we are not worrying about these two quadrants down here at all, just these two up in the top. What we're going to do from there is, you can see I have my object laid down, and what I'm doing is I am looking at the different shapes that are in that object. So my brain right now is telling me that this up here, this cup has a curved rim. I know that there's a circle up here. But when I look at this cup from the angle I can see it, I can't see that circle. So the hard part about drawing observationally is that your brain is going to tell you to draw that circle up here. You're going to want to draw a cup like this, but that's not how we're seeing it. So we got to focus on drawing on how we see an object. So how we're going to do that, you're going to pick a point. I'm starting down here. I've already kind of starting down here, and I'm choosing my point right here, and I'm following on my object. My eye is following all of those different shapes, all those lines and the curves. I hardly ever actually look at my drawing. Is it going to turn out a little wonky? Probably, but that is okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to start. Follow with your eyes along your object, draw it out just like that, how I've got it. Then I see that this goes up, and this cup is in my way, but I don't want to move it so that you guys can see. This is going to be a little weird. And then on this side, it also goes up like that, and I can see that it curves out just a little bit right there. So I'm curving that out on both sides. I want to try and make sure that it's level. And then, like I said, I'm going to want to draw it like an actual cup, but I know that I can't. So to me, the way I see it is this kind of curves up, kind of like a rainbow, but not super arced. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, the goal with observational drawing, or any type of drawing, is you want to try and avoid erasing until you've made your marks. Because if you go through and you make a mark and then you erase it, you go back and you probably will make the same mark because you don't know where your old mark was. And so your brain is still telling you, it's still playing tricks on you, and it's still going to want you to make that mark in the same place where you made the mistake the first time. So go over, make your marks before you start erasing. So there's my wonky cup. It's okay. It does not have to look exactly like your object. Do your best though. I can also see the handle. I cannot see the whole handle, but I can see part of the handle. So I am going to slide this over just a little bit so I can draw that part. It still looks the same for me. Nope, you guys can't see it anymore, but that's okay. I'm going to come in here, and I can tell that it comes out just a little bit, and it curves around. It comes almost all the way down to the bottom down here like that. And then this part is curved kind of like that. Okay, so once I've got my basic outline done, I'm going to call that mapping. So I've mapped out my object. I can see the different lines. I can see the shapes. I might even come in and I might add in these dark spots so that I know when I go in to add my value, that's where those are. I might also even come in and add my highlights or my light spots. But what I'm going to be doing next is I have my cup mapped out. It's ready. I'm going to be referencing back to those value scales that we did yesterday. Mine got ripped a little bit. That's all right. You're going to want your darkest value on your object to match the darkest value on your value scale. So on mine, I'm going to look, and it's definitely these little spots that are on here. They match that darkest spot. So I am going to go ahead and shade in those little gold specks on the mug to match that darkest value. And again, it does not have to be perfect, guys. We're not doing this for perfection. We're doing it to learn, and it's okay to make mistakes when you're learning. So there's that. And I'm going to do that on all of them. For your guys' time, I'm not going to show you how to do that. I will be posting my pictures, as always, in the comments on Schoology, so make sure you look for that. Once I get my darkest spot, then I'm going to find my lightest spots. I can see a huge highlight here. Whoop, where is it? Right there. Here, here, a couple up here, and then there's some on the handle too. So when I do that, what I'm going to do for those highlights is I'm going to kind of map out the shape of them, the outside shape of them. And then when I go in to shade the area around it, I'm going to make sure that I leave those spots so that they are light. And then I start adding all the rest of my values. So I know that up here is kind of dark, so I'll go ahead and start shading that. I might bring it down. And remember, if you get something that's too dark, you can always go back in and erase. In fact, I like to use my eraser as a drawing tool, where I might do something too dark intentionally and then go back in and erase parts of it to bring out highlights. Like up here, I'm going to go back in later with my eraser and I'm going to pull out the highlight that we see right there using my eraser. And I'm just going to keep adding value. Once I finish with this quadrant, with this cup and this quadrant, I'm going to move on to the next quadrant. That's this one right here. When I do this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my object and I'm going to set it at a different angle. So I drew it last time laying down like that. This time I might draw it sitting up like that, looking down in. So I might map it out. Circles are really hard. Do your best. You do not need to trace something to make it a perfect circle. Remember, do not erase. See all those lines I made? I think you guys can kind of see them. Just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow the same steps. I'm going to find my darkest value, which is right here. And I'm going to add that in. I'm going to shade that in. And I won't finish for your guys' time again. But then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep building up. So I'm going to move on to the next darkest, which would probably be like somewhere over in here where that part is, or right over in that edge. But if you guys have questions, don't forget about that purple folder under the week outline. Feel free to ask me questions, troubleshooting anything that you're having problems with. And then make sure you're uploading your pictures when you're done. Remember, today we're just doing the top 2 quadrants. Do not lose this paper because we're going to be doing these bottom 2 the next day. But other than that, I hope you guys do well. Good luck. And I look forward to seeing your guys' artwork.